Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. Welcome to a new series, this time Age of Wonders Planetfall. Age of Wonders Planetfall is the fourth Age of Wonders game in the series by the same developer, Triumph Studios, now published by Paradox Interactive, so be prepared for a lot of DLC for this game. I did play some Age of Wonders 3 on the channel quite a while ago now. I do like the Age of Wonders game, mostly for the combat. I did find that the city building side of things was a little bit lacking, but it does seem to have improved in Planetfall. So Planetfall is essentially a sci-fi, futuristic inspired take on Age of Wonders game. It's kind of got that sort of Alpha Centauri, Masters of Orion, Gal Civ, Civilization Beyond Earth kind of feel to it. But it has that classic Age of Wonders gameplay, particularly with the combat. That's always been the thing that's really sold me on Age of Wonders. As I said, I didn't really find the city building aspect of it that great. And mostly the reason for that was in Age of Wonders 3, you could spam out cities wherever you wanted, and there was hardly ever a penalty for it. They did try and address that in one of the DLCs, but it still didn't completely eliminate the situation. And it even really didn't matter what buildings you produced in what cities. You just spam stuff out and that was it. They've changed it now in Planetfall. So we're going to go in. We're going to play through a scenario. So I'm not going to spoil the campaign or anything here. I have played through the tutorial, fairly straightforward as you might expect, and I've started on the campaign, so I'm not that far in. I've only put maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours into the game so far. So this is sort of a blind let's play. There are still lots of mechanics I haven't figured out yet, but it should be easy enough given that I played the previous game. So we're going to go in for a new scenario. So we have the option to start on a few different worlds. Now, if you read the text for some of these, it is important. Imperial world suitable for recolonization. The frontier world is feral, barely colonized world at the edge of the Star Union. A capital world, former population centres with bountiful imperial remains. The ravaged world, devastated by the cataclysm or ancient wars. And then an infested world, fallen to xenoplague as a result of classified experimentation. Most of this is stuff that you will learn about during the campaign, but the main difference in the way colonization works in Planetfall, instead of it being like Civilization, where you just go and set up a city wherever you want on the map, you just pick a hex, put a city down, and the area of influence expands. It's more like the city building method used in Endless Legend, where the map is divided up into these sort of predetermined sectors, and you can only build a colony or a city on a specific hex within a single sector, and then you gain more sectors and join them to your city. Obviously I'll demonstrate this as we go through, but that's the reason why it mentions some of these planets have population centers and some are sparsely populated, because that's going to make the difference between whether you have to build new colonies or whether you're just going to be able to capture existing ones. We're just going to use the Imperial world for now. Like I said, this will actually be my first play of a scenario, so we'll keep it nice and easy. So just like Age of Wonders 3, and I'm assuming those before them because I didn't play the first two, you have heroes, and you can select the hero that will be leading your colony, your empire. So there were 6 races so far in Planetfall. I'm expecting there will probably be more with DLC in the future. But there is the Kir'Ko, the Syndicate, the Amazons, the Devar, the Assembly, and the Vanguard. So if we just go through and find some of these to show. So this first one that we have selected here, this is a Devar, who are basically like the dwarves essentially. So the Devar are a thrifty race of survivalists. The Devar work hard to mine planets for all they're worth to gain as many resources as possible for their consortium's survival and welfare. They're good with firearms, they're good with explosives, they've got powerful area of effect and medium range attacks, they've got a strong focus on production, terraforming options to destroy and create mountains, and their racial structures ignore happiness penalties from volcanic terrain type. So that is the Devar. And let's go to the top. We've got the assembly. The assembly are these sort of cyborg type people. The assembly is a race of cyborgs born from destruction. These people aim to bring their newfound peace to the universe by breaking down the chaos of the galaxy and reassembling it into the perfect new whole. They have, they're proficient with arc weapons and firearm weapons. They can reassemble falling units, bringing them back to life. They can gather extra resources from battlefield victories. They've got excellent research capabilities, and their racial ability gives them a natural resistance to arc damage. Then we've got the Vanguard, who are essentially human. The Vanguard consists of rough folk with few ties to society, so the effects of long interstellar travel in cryosleep and the resulting time dilation doesn't matter to them. And they're good with firearms and laser weapons. They can deploy combat drones and turrets. They use propaganda and military force, and they've got powerful ranged units, but they're pretty weak in melee. Then we have the Syndicate. The Syndicate are a group of ruthless trading houses from the frontiers of the Empire. With the Star Union gone, they see a universe of opportunity. Good with arc and psi weapons. Indentured slave units ignore morale penalties, and they have excellent stealth capabilities and covert operations. Then we have the Amazon. The bioengineering Amazons have the ability to alter life and survive harsh circumstances. Their fearsome troops have Spartan discipline and are experts in guerrilla tactics. Their arsenal includes genetically engineered beasts that the Amazons ride into battle. Now, they can use the bio and laser weapons groups. They command genetically engineered beasts. They terraform forests and manipulate wildlife. They have increased economy and combat capability in forests, and their racial ability is forest affinity. And then finally, we have the Kir'Ko, which are these insect-like creatures. Through rapid evolution, the Kir'Ko seek to restore what was broken and will find retribution for the terrible fate that has befallen them. They can use the bio and psi weapon groups. They've got rapid population growth and large armies. They have swarm shields to protect their units in combat. They have biological units with good melee capability, and their racial abilities are swarm shields and faster regeneration, which it already mentions. So those are the 6 different races, but within each race you can have several different leaders. So if we look here, this is Kekto Zato, and then we've got Chax Uzkol, and we've got Chin Tiltriz. So, you know, multiple different options. There's probably some more if we go further down. Yep, there's Hatal Uruk. And we've also got Kiri Uzkol down there as well, and Jikuku Kozrak. So multiple different heroes. And the reason you have multiple different heroes within the same race is that they have different abilities. So one thing that you will notice as we go through them is they also have this here. This is their secret science. So this guy, for example, this guy's secret science is Xenoplague. The Xenoplague spreads through a highly adaptive alien parasite and can be used to create biological weapons, develop super soldiers, and evolve planetary populations. Spawn and evolve special units after battle, heal and enhance biological units, deploy infectious bioweapons, and use the biochemical and kinetic damage channels. They also have these modifiers here. So, for example, this guy, basic equipment. The standard issue pack you receive after basic training gives us a rifle, the Thrax rifle, that deals biological damage, and a Cytone of Dissonance that deals psionic damage in an area. We also have Veteran. You enlisted as soon as possible and quickly gained rank and honor. This is clearly not your first deployment. You gain the following. Veteran. You start at level 3, gaining you 10 skill points to spend after landing. Combat experience. All units gain experience 15% faster. And our third one here is military detachment. A strong military force is always good for you, so you are sure to recruit extra soldiers to join you on your expedition. You start the game with a larger standing army. If we then go to one of the other Kir'Ko, we can see that they have a different science. So this one is Psinumbra. The Psinumbra employ a dark psionic powers to tear holes in the reality and summon devious entities from the abyss. Summon ethereal beings, break enemies' minds, shatter reality to terrorize the populace, and use psionic damage channel. This guy also has the sharpshooter equipment, so he's a ranged specialist, increases damage dealt with ranged weapons, slightly increased accuracy and critical hit chance. They also have a psi rifle that deals psionic damage, and a Thrax blaster that deals repeated biological damage. Military tradition, which gives an decreases weapon research cost by 25%. And once per turn, when the commander kills a unit in combat, they immediately regain all action points. The other two aren't used. And again, we've got this guy. This guy uses the Celestian tech. They are the ancient order of psionically gifted individuals that strive to achieve inner enlightenment and create balance and harmony in the universe. They can sway enemy soldiers and colonists to their cause. They get diplomacy bonuses with NPCs, strong morale buffing and damage reflection, and can use psionic and thermal damage channels. I'm not going to go through them all. As you can see, there are a lot. There's also a custom slot here, because you can go in and customize your leader. So you can go and pick the race that you want. You can go and pick the secret technology. So we've got the 6 races. Technologies there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 technologies. So 6 races and 6 technologies. So there's quite a few different options there. And then you can pick their background. So those are the 4 little modifiers that you saw under the technology. So you can pick their background, you can pick their colony supplement, you can pick their commander loadout, and you can pick a vice. You're not obligated to pick all of them. It works on a point system. Some of them are negatives, which will actually give you points back that you can spend on other things. So you can create a nice custom leader, just like you could in Age of Wonders 3. If you go back to the sort of mission start screen, you've also got an advanced setup where you can choose how many players you have, you can pick what team they're on, what difficulty they are, and you can go and change things such as the way game flow works. One thing that I do find quite cool, and I think it's under turns. So you've got the option of classic turns where everybody goes in order, or simultaneous turns where everybody goes at the same time, which I think is what Age of Wonders 3 used. But you've also got this thing called enabling combat cards. Now this is specifically for multiplayer against humans, but basically you have a number of cards which you have to spend in order to go to combat with other human players. They do regenerate over time, but this is a great way that sort of stops it being a game where every single turn humans are going to get into combat. And that was one of the things that Age of Wonders 3 always suffered with, because the combat took such a long time, and if you were playing a multiplayer game and 2 other players were fighting each other, you could watch the combat, but you basically had nothing to do for 15 minutes while a battle went on. Or even if another player was battling AI and they were doing the battle manually instead of auto-resolving, you'd just be sitting around watching them do the battle. You couldn't play it yourself. So at least this sort of limits the amount of battles that human players can do. I'm going to go in and just pick the Imperial world. We are going to pick our commander, and I'd already chosen that for my first game I wanted to play as this guy, the one that uses the Xenoplague. I think that will be quite fun. So let's go ahead and jump straight in.
Peace be upon you, Swarm Herald of the Unshackled Kir'Ko. I do not know how your insectoid emotions work, but let me say that wrath and vengeance do not lead to salvation. The empire that enthralled your kind lies in ruins, while you have regained your freedom. Everything happens for a reason. Shape your own future and don't look back in anger. May your swarm bring light to this world.
So obviously you've seen all this stuff. There are a couple of different victory objectives. So last man standing victory, which basically wipe everybody else out. Score victory, obviously win on score by the a set turn limit. Domination victory, I don't even know what all of these do. I have to have a look because I haven't seen them yet. We can see 6 players. Obviously there's me and 5 AI. This map is mostly land masses, a little bit of water. Let us jump in. Oh, I love that ship design. That is so funky. I've not seen that before, actually, so that is quite cool.
To create Xenoplague units, you will need to infect enemy units in tactical combat with parasitic infection by using unit mods and tactical operations that are unlocked through research.
Okay, so that sounds interesting. So, at the end of successful combat, the more enemy units that were infected, the higher the chance that you will gain a Xenoplague unit, or revolve an existing Xenoplague unit. The spawn chance increases the higher the tier of the infected units that died. Each combat, multiple units can be spawned, evolved, or a combination of both. Before Xenoplague units can be spawned, or existing Xenoplague units can be evolved, they need to be researched. So, that's going to be an interesting way of gaining new units. So before I go into anything else, let me just zoom the map out a little bit, and you can see here what I was saying about the way that everything is split into these sectors. So this is one sector here. This is my sector where my city is. If you look at these adjacent sectors, you'll see that all of them have a name. So this is Blurry Bog, this is Mastiff Marsh, this is Grave Grove, this is Pitable Plains, this is Snow Cover Peaks. And Temple Mountain over here. And each of these sectors has this little pushpin, this little drop flag. That hex is the only hex where you can actually settle a colony or a city. So if you want to go ahead and grab one of these sectors, you need to be able to colonize this spot. Now, you can only build, well, you cannot build a colony in a sector adjacent to an existing colony. So I cannot colonize one of these sectors. However, you can annex them, which does require some population. You can annex a sector and join it to an existing colony, and then you can exploit the resources that it has. Again, we'll demonstrate that as we go through. So we've got two armies here. This is our main army with our leader. Let's have a look what units we've got. So we've got this guy here. These are the hidden. And let's see what they've got. So they have psi rifles. It's psionic that bypasses armor. They've got shrouded step. So channeling their psionic powers, the unit teleports themselves, spreading a cloud of obscuring smoke in a 1 hex radius around the target hex's location. Units inside that area are 40% harder to hit. They have a snapshot for their psi rifle. It doesn't do as much damage. Fire a quick snapshot, dealing reduced psionic damage, and it bypasses all armor. So our psi rifle requires a full action. The psi rifle uses all 3 of our action points. The snapshot just uses a single one. They've got the, evasion as a defense mode, which most units have. They actually have agile Overwatch. So I don't think they had Overwatch in Age of Wonders 3, but you do have Overwatch in Planetfall. But when this unit enters Overwatch, it is always considered to have full action points, regardless of how many it actually has. That is interesting. Combat experience we know about. Swarm shield, unit gains +2. Is that defense? Yeah. When it's adjacent to a friendly unit with shield swarm. Universal camouflage. This unit cannot be detected when standing on any hex. Nice. It's biological, it's infantry, it's Kir'Ko, it's a land unit, it's a light unit, it's psionic, and it's a skirmish. Okay, cool. Then we've got this unit here. This is a transcendent. It has a psi strike. It's a repeating ability. And it can absorb pain. I'm not going to go through all of these, but just keep your eye on how some of these say repeating. Some say single action, and some say full action, because that is important to combat if you don't know how combat works within Age of Wonders. And then we have these guys, the Frenzied. These look like they are melee. They have repeating staggers units, which is basically like a stun. Reduces action points, cancels defensive modes, bypasses defense. And they have Battle Vomit. Nice. Short range biochemical area of effect attack. Armor melt, destroys 1 armor per hit, ignores line of sight penalties, 2 turn cooldown, single action. Excellent. So that's our main army with our leader here. And you can see he has his Thrax rifle and his Psi Stone of Dissonance. Because of his ability, he actually starts with 10 points that we can go and spend giving him extra abilities. So let's go ahead and give him some of those. Some of these look pretty cool. Adjacent units with Swarm Shield gain 20% damage to all abilities. That's going to be brilliant. Let's give him that. Let's give him some extra health. Let's give him Range Specialist, which will increase damage dealt with ranged weapons by 10. And we've got 2 more points we can spend. Let's give him an extra 5% accuracy and critical hit chance. There's all of his skill points spent. Now you see all of your units have these mod slots. We don't have any mods available yet, but you can actually mod your units to make them stronger, give them different abilities, so on and so forth. And let's close that. We have a second army here. This army also has just a Frenzied, doesn't have anything particularly great leading it. And we've also got these things called the Unleashed, which again seem to be melee, but they have this gunk shot thing. They are flying creatures, so they're 10% harder to hit with most weapons. Excellent. So those are our 2 armies. I don't believe we can research it. You can't start researching right at the start of the game. You have to wait until the second term. So the score, there's the score victory. So you 150 turns to get a score victory. And you've got these different things that you have to meet. So these are... there's a special term for these. These are like world quests that everybody can do. Do 2 quests for an NPC faction. Achieve peace with the NPC faction. And you get this reward. Basically 100% more influence from quests. And gain 25 influence. So we won't bother looking at that too much. For now, we're going to start exploring. I don't think there's anything we can build in our city right now. We can build Frenzied and Unleashed. Those are the only 2 units that we can produce. We can go ahead and build a central replicator factory, which we pretty much should do. So let's go ahead and... Or do we already have one? I think we already have one. Colony Center. No, it doesn't. Colony Center shows us what we've already got. Doesn't look like we have one of those. Not sure why it won't let us build one. And these are our colonists. So you can move your colonists around between food production, energy production, actual, production. That is knowledge, which is basically research, and happiness. So I think for now, we could get a science lab. Let's go ahead and try and build that army up to another 6 stacks. So let's go ahead and get ourselves...
The unit's template
That's not what I wanted to do.
Shows you mod templates for units under your control.
So as I already said, you can give units mods, which means you can have multiple units of the same time with different mod combinations, which is why you can have this list here. But that's not what I actually wanted to do. This is the diplomacy screen, so I haven't been through these along the top. So diplomacy with other races that you've met. These are our operations. So your operations are basically like the global spells that you had in Age of Wonders 3. So they are things that you can perform that are map wide or that give you sort of massive area of effect bonuses in battle. The objectives we've already looked at. Colony overview.
The military overview interface.
So this is the military overview, so we can actually see our armies at a glance, along with our heroes and any items that we have. So you can see we do have some items that some units do have. We've also got a vehicle available as well. That is quite cool. So we could probably, if we wanted to, upgrade some of our units right away. There are probably some... No, it doesn't look like we... Oh, those are mods. It's equipment we have, not mods. So we could theoretically change some of our equipment over if we wanted to. We could give this guy a vehicle. There is one available. He can't use it, but we're not going to be doing that. So, okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and close that. And, yeah, we want to go back into our city. I will remember what I'm doing. Like I said, it's been a while since I played. So, I want to produce a few frenzied. So, let's produce one there. Let's get another one stacked up. Probably another one of those unleashed. So that'll end up giving us 2 full armies. Orders are required. So let's go ahead and attack one of these neutrals, and I can actually show you how combat works. So we're going to go over here. This has an army power of 300. Our army power is 785, so we should win this with little to no problems. So let's just go in there and beat this thing up. So as you can see, we have 6 units. The enemy has 3 units. It tells us what the relative power is between the 2 armies. If we want, we can just do an auto combat, which will essentially give us an auto resolve based on these numbers. We may be able to negotiate if it's a faction that we can have diplomatic relations with. We can try and run away, which is always fine. If you're the attacker, you can always abort an attack. If you're the defender, there's a chance you can get caught. Now, obviously, this game is a hex-based system. If an army is attacked, all of the armies within the 6 tiles surrounding it can be called in. So you can have a total of 7 armies in a single battle. The defender is always the one in the middle hex, but it can be defensive units and attacking units all involved. Let's go ahead and jump into manual combat. And if you haven't seen combat in Age of Wonders, then this is where the sort of main meat of the game lies. So the enemy gets the defender always gets to move first in combat. So as you can see on each of our units, they have a green bar and then these 3 smaller cyan coloured bars. The enemy units have a red bar. The top bar represents the unit hit points. The 3 cyan bars represent the 3 action points that every unit has. And if I select a unit, you can see on the ground there are 4 different colours. We've got green, cyan, like a purple colour, and red. If I move within the green area, which is usually just a single hex, it won't actually use any of my action points. I can move 1 tile for 0 cost. That will leave me 3 action points remaining for attacking. If I move into a blue tile or a cyan coloured tile, then that will use 1 of my action points. I will have 2 remaining. If I move into the purple area, that will use 2 of my action points and I will have 1 action remaining. And if I move into the red area, I won't have any action points remaining. I won't be able to attack. These little arrows around the edge of the map are exit points. If you get a unit to those points, you can retreat from the battle. And all of the attacks and abilities that you have either have a single cost, which means they use 1 of your action points to do, or they will have a full action cost, which means they require the full action to fire. So like, for example, one of these guys does is, which one is it? Is it these guys? No. It's the guys that are hidden. Is it you? Yeah, so these guys have a full action. So in order for them to fire, they require all 3 of their action points. However, they can use the snapshot, which only requires a single action point. When you have an ability that says repeating, it will fire however many times for each remaining action point you have. So if I was to shoot at a target now, he's out of range, but if I could shoot at that target, I would actually shoot at him 3 times because I have 3 action points remaining. Let's start to get into position. We're going to move forwards and we're going to keep our units in cover. So let's send our hero forwards and we're going to go ahead and put him on Overwatch. Now, Overwatch is directional. So he had 2 action points remaining in that position, which means his Overwatch will grant him 2 shots. Now, one of these guys... Is it this guy? But one of these guys had Agile Overwatch. Which is the one that has Agile Overwatch? I'm sure it was these guys, actually. Well, these guys had Agile Overwatch. We do want to try and keep our units in cover as much as possible. So we'll move you into into Overwatch. Not sure we have Agile Overwatch. We'll put you there. So you have Psionic Mending. You can actually help us recover health. And you have a Psionic Strike ability. I'm going to keep you in the background. And I'm just going to basically put you on defense mode. And then we'll move some of these other units forward. Now, these guys are melee units. They do have this, like, acid spit thing. But I think we will need to try and move them forwards. Now, apparently they don't have line of sight penalty. So, I don't know what the range is on this thing. It's not very far. So, yeah, we can't do that over a great range. We'll put them into defensive mode. We'll move forwards with this unit, put them into defensive mode as well. You are not going to do anything, because you can't, and we'll end the turn. So, we might take a bit of damage here. So, that unit tried to move, so we do Overwatch damage to it. And it's attacking our hero. Quite nasty, but he's got the most health, so, you know, your hero can survive a lot. Now you're attacking our melee units. Okay, so it's back to our turn. Now, if you attack something and you are directly next to it, it can counterattack, providing it survives. However, if you are behind it, the unit is flanked. You can see there, underneath the damage, it says the unit is flanked. That is good. That means it won't be able to counterattack. So we're going to take a shot, and we managed to kill that unit there nice and easily. And we've got this guy here. Again, if we were to attack with this unit, this one would attack back because it is right next to us. As you can see, Overwatch on miss or graze. But we can go behind it and we can flank it. So let's move around to here. This will give us the flank attack. It does Overwatch on miss and graze. but we did a lot of damage to it. I'm confident that this unit can kill it now, so we're just going to go ahead and attack with that unit.
Enemy destroyed.
Don't have to worry about it attacking us. And then let's move around here with our hero. I'm not sure he'll have line of sight on that from there, actually. So I'm going to move him around this side. It will reduce his ability to get multiple shots. We are swarm shielded here. Got a 50% chance to hit. And he missed. We get 2 shots because he had 2 action points remaining. He missed with both of them. Let's go ahead and... Can we get you over here? How quickly can you get there if we try and run you there? You're going to have to go the long way around. Yep, I thought so. That's fine. It's not a problem. And can we do anything with you? Well, we did take some damage on our leader there, didn't we? So let's go ahead and move forwards. And we can heal you up. Might as well do that. And we'll end the turn. So you're moving around. You are attacking this melee unit. That is fine. That's all he can do. And he's gone into Overwatch. Let's move behind him. So his Overwatch is only melee. We're flanking him, so he's not going to hit us. So we'll attack him from behind. And he's down.
Eliminated.
So that was a nice easy battle against a trash mob, essentially.
Our forces are victorious.
And there we go. That's the battle over. It gives us a summary of what units sustain damage and who is still alive. Usually from completing a battle you gain some sort of reward. Sometimes it's a straight up thing like energy or knowledge or food. It can occasionally be items that you can equip to your units and mods and things like that. So we will take that reward and we will sit still with this army so that he can recuperate some energy. We do have our other army here. We can go down to this guy. This guy is showing as green, which means he shouldn't be hostile. So we can go down and have a speak. We can try and talk to them. So, growth. This is some sort of weird plant-like creature. We are growth. For millennia, we have lived in symbiosis with countless organisms throughout the systems, germinating wherever our seeds may reach. We sense your intelligence and will be interested in a symbiotic relationship. We are still cautious, however. What is it you seek? So we can either just say nothing and walk away. We can let's see those flowers wither and we can basically become hostile to them and just attack them. Or we can seek to join in a symbiotic relationship. Let's do that. A wise choice we find. Our relationship is just a sapling, but we will require help with matters that fall outside of our abilities. Can you be of service? Rewards have been made ready. What can we do for you? And they give us a quest. We are being eaten alive, our branches are stripped bare, sap is spilling out of open wounds, there is pain with every cut these animals inflict. Our fruits and nectar are freely available, yet this is not enough for some. Return our nutrients by committing these plant eaters' bodies to the ground. Slay 4 units in 10 turns, we will gain 10 relationship bonus with that faction, we will gain 10 influence and 22 research. Of course we're going to accept. These are the units we have to destroy. We've got 10 turns to do it. We can wait until our army grows a little bit larger before moving in. He does have orders remaining. Let's move him up here. Not close enough to engage them directly, but close enough that we can reinforce with the new units once they are built. That is now the end of the turn, hence the end turn button is here. So I'm going to end the video because I appreciate that this one has gone on for quite some time. I hope you've enjoyed it though. If you do want to see more Age of Wonders, please let me know. I'll probably be recording a few videos back to back, so I will be putting a few more out anyway before I even sort of read the comments. But if you do want the series to continue, if Age of Wonders is something you're interested in seeing more of, please let me know. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video, and until then, goodbye for now.